actually answer that for you. So essentially we had that big cold front first, so that allowed for more lift. We had heat, humidity and instability, all that heat. But in the mid levels of the atmosphere, when you have dry air, sometimes that it can allow for a higher risk of hail. And then sometimes the rain essentially evaporates and can allow for a bigger push of wind. So I think we had that story during live weather impact. So he was just talking about the fact that this is rare because it's hard to get that dry air in summertime, which we know.
It was a nice day out.
It was nice. It was nice. Yesterday's storms finally allowing for some better conditions today. We still had some hazy sky conditions due to some smoke. That, of course, from the wildfires in Canada. Essentially another big push here of wind thanks to an approaching cold front. Slightly cooler, a little bit more comfortable now. I do think we'll still see some haze tomorrow, but probably not quite as much as we did today. Not enough to see any kind of smoke. It's not mixing in near the ground. But then next, we're looking ahead to our next change. That's more rain as we head later into the weekend. So let's talk about what's happening now. It is still warm outside. We're in the upper 70s, but if you remember, rewind back to the beginning of July, temperatures around midnight were in the mid 80s. That's because we were under that heat wave. So it kind of shows you that while yes, 78 is still warm, we've certainly been worse as we are past the hottest time of the year historically in Charlotte, which is July 11th through July 21st. Temperatures up in the mountains in the mid 60s, but it really feels more comfortable because the dew point has dropped. Again, comfort levels different for certain times of the year. It would be impossible to have a dew point where we are in the 60s if we were in winter time and temperatures were in the 50s, but we're definitely starting to see things trend a little bit more comfortable when it comes to the humidity, what it feels like outside. Think about this as you look at that dew point of 61. Air you can wear is around 70 plus. Tropical moisture, where we talk about a lot of sticky humidity when a system is approaching, that's about 75 plus. And it's interesting too because it kind of goes to show how much of a change we've seen, not just with the temperature, but with the dew point. 61 again is low for July, but yesterday we had a dew point of 77. That was the highest we've seen so far this summer. And again, anytime you're 75 plus, that is substantially sticky. With the current conditions, we do have a temperature inversion. So similar to when we see big thunderstorms and it kind of traps sound, things get really loud. We're under a similar inversion right now. I really don't think that's going to impact anyone in the near term because, again, we're not tracking any kind of thunder. We're not tracking any kind of significant risk, for fog or anything like that, which an inversion can keep that from being able to clear out as effectively. But it might feel a little bit more noticeably, I don't know, things kind of sticking around. I always think about a couple blocks away from where I live, there is a barbecue place. And sometimes when there's an inversion, like the smell kind of sticks around. So you might experience something like that, but we're not going to see anything related, again, to the Canadian wildfire smoke, nothing related to significant weather related problems. Tomorrow afternoon, mostly dry again. Friday, same song and dance. We will eventually start to see southwesterly winds move in by late Friday. This will allow for a few more clouds to mix in. So I do expect Friday's sunset to be a little bit nicer, especially because of those thin, wispy clouds. This is ahead of that next cold front. So the increase in clouds kind of tells you what's coming. 11 a.m. starting to see some spotty rain up in the mountains, and we'll see some spotty rain return to the Charlotte area by Saturday afternoon. Because of a lot of cloud cover, right now I'm not expecting this to become a widespread risk of severe storms, but we certainly could see a few pop-up thunderstorms Saturday afternoon. That is before the front stalls and brings us more widespread cloud cover, more widespread rain, which is one of the reasons why temperatures only stay in the low to mid 80s starting Sunday all throughout the middle of next week. If you remember back to first weather, we were talking about how we do see a notable amount of rain here in the Carolinas over the next 7 days, but not a significant risk for flooding. I think at a maximum, we're looking at about 1 to maybe 1.5 if we're lucky. So beneficial to the drought. But as of right now, I'm not thinking about any kind of weather alert or anything like that for flooding because I do think the risk is going to be extremely low. If that changes, our team, of course, will let you know. Here's that Jerry Hunt Super Center 7 day. So beautiful weather tomorrow, beautiful again on Friday, temps back in the 90s, a few showers and thunderstorms Saturday, more widespread through early next week. And then eventually we do trend closer to average by the end of that extended forecast. I'm not really seeing anything that jumps out to me as a concern. No significant risk for flooding, but also no significant risk for widespread heat. So the next 10 days or so, I wouldn't say it's Chamber of Commerce weather, but pretty typical for July.